humanity. We conduct research, provide education, and deliver community services by enhancing knowledge that benefits the community, the nation, and the world. We have been learning from one another and get stronger together since we believe that knowledge is not useful unless it is shared with others. The learning process will never cease developing. At UGM, we learn by continuously exploring sciences, learning from history, observing the present, and researching for the future. We always work hard and never give up. The learning and research processes at UGM continue to run together and explore state-of-the-art innovations. To create a convenient, environmentally friendly, and pollution-free green campus, UGM has built a wisdom park that substantiates the teaching and learning process. The park per se is open to the public. UGM has also developed drinking water facilities throughout the campus, provided by a drinking water supporting unit. This system is harnessed by the entire academic community of UGM. As the manifestation of its teaching endeavor, UGM operates various field laboratories for educational and research purposes. Furthermore, UGM has established and run a science technopark as an embodiment of its capability of inventing and commercializing a myriad of innovative health products, ranging from medical devices, herbal medicines, and healthy food.
There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries, and 4,291 people have lost their lives.
2020 has been a tough year for anyone, and it is no exception for UGM. Campus activities are abruptly halted, student activities on campus are annulled, and everyone is forced to work, worship, and study from home. Lecturers have no choice but to learn how to teach effectively using the information and communication technology, or ICT. Learning and research on technology are strongly supported at UGM, and in fact, we have conducted various cutting-edge technological research. Community Service, or KKN, is one of the most important courses to complete the study program, which will be undergone by University of Gadjah Mada, or UGM, in 2020 while adapting online courses system. Supported by the Ministry of Education, UGM will continue its service within the society across Indonesia during the pandemic issue. Lecturers and researchers at UGM continue carrying out basic and applied research in many realms. For instance, studies in the health sector to cope with COVID-19 are being encouraged and accelerated as a form of UGM's commitment to mitigating disaster using scientific methods. One of the most innovative inventions regarding to mitigating the COVID-19 is Genos, a screening tool or early detector of patients exposed to COVID-19, which is able to identify the symptom through exhale within 80 seconds. Genos is highly reliable. It has a number of advantages as a COVID-19 fast detection tool. Its sensor is able to detect more than thousands of patients in the long term, while providing relatively fast results, non-invasive and affordable. In addition, its usage also applies non-rebreathing mask and disposable HEPA filter. Those challenges somehow direct or even force us to innovate and modify approaches. Success is a journey which necessitates smart work through learning, studying, and sacrificing. Despite all that, most of all, we love what we do.
Yogyakarta adalah kota istimewa yang kaya akan nilai budaya dan menjunjung tata krama. Menjadi rumah dan saksi sejarah bagi pelajar yang menyiapkan bekal untuk mengejar cita-cita. Departemen Bahasa, Seni, dan Manajemen Budaya atau DBSMB merupakan salah satu departemen yang ada di Sekolah Vokasi Universitas Gadjah Mada. Sebuah departemen dengan visi menjadi departemen terapan yang unggul, bermartabat, dan mampu menghasilkan profesional dalam bidang bahasa, kearsipan, dan kepariwisataan yang berjiwa Pancasila. Dengan tekad berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa, DBSMB terus melakukan riset dan menghasilkan inovasi melalui 3 program studi sarjana terapan, yaitu Sarjana Terapan Bahasa Inggris, Sarjana Terapan Bisnis Perjalanan Wisata, Sarjana Terapan Pengelolaan Arsip dan Rekaman Informasi.
Departemen Bahasa, Seni, dan Manajemen Budaya merupakan salah satu departemen di Sekolah Vokasi Universitas Gadjah Mada yang bertujuan untuk menciptakan lulusan yang memiliki kompetensi di bidang kebahasaan, seni, dan manajemen budaya.
DBSMB memiliki Center of Excellence Culture and Tourism atau COE-CNT sebagai wadah kolaborasi antara sivitas akademika DBSMB dengan mitra. Didukung dengan fasilitas penunjang kegiatan akademik dan non-akademik, Departemen berusaha mewujudkan kegiatan belajar mengajar dan penelitian yang unggul untuk mendukung UGM menghasilkan lulusan yang kompeten dan berkiprah memajukan Indonesia. DBSMB berkomitmen untuk menyelenggarakan pendidikan dan penelitian untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang profesional dalam memenangkan persaingan di era global. Selain program riset, Departemen juga melakukan program pengabdian masyarakat demi sebuah kontribusi nyata terhadap bangsa. Selain itu, DBSMB juga memiliki program kemitraan baik dalam negeri maupun luar negeri. Kerjasama dengan mitra diwujudkan dalam berbagai bentuk kegiatan tridharma perguruan tinggi, sehingga lulusan dapat meraih pekerjaan impian. Untuk menyalurkan minat dan bakat, DBSMB memiliki banyak kegiatan mahasiswa dan lingkungan yang dapat memberi kebebasan kreativitas bagi para mahasiswanya. Namun, terus menumbuhkan sikap tanggung jawab.
Semua program studi di sekolah vokasi memiliki tujuan untuk menciptakan lulusan yang dekat dengan industri dan memiliki kompetensi, sikap, dan pengetahuan yang dibutuhkan oleh industri.
Dengan pembukaan program studi sarjana terapan, DBSMB bertekad untuk menjadi departemen ilmu terapan yang unggul, bermartabat, dan mampu menghasilkan profesional dalam bidang bahasa, kearsipan, dan kepariwisataan yang berjiwa Pancasila. Yogyakarta adalah kota istimewa yang kaya akan nilai budaya dan menjunjung tata krama. Menjadi rumah dan saksi sejarah bagi pelajar yang menyiapkan bekal untuk mengejar cita-cita. Departemen Bahasa, Seni, dan Manajemen Budaya atau DBSMB merupakan salah satu departemen yang ada di Sekolah Vokasi Universitas Gadjah Mada. Sebuah departemen Dengan visi menjadi departemen terapan yang unggul, bermartabat, dan mampu menghasilkan profesional dalam bidang bahasa, kearsipan, dan kepariwisataan yang berjiwa Pancasila. Dengan tekad berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa, DBSMB terus melakukan riset dan menghasilkan inovasi melalui 3 program studi sarjana terapan, yaitu Sarjana Terapan Bahasa Inggris, Sarjana Terapan Bisnis Perjalanan Wisata, Sarjana Terapan Pengelolaan Arsip dan Rekaman Informasi.
Departemen Bahasa, Seni, dan Manajemen Budaya merupakan salah satu departemen di Sekolah Vokasi Universitas Gadjah Mada yang bertujuan untuk menciptakan lulusan yang memiliki kompetensi di bidang kebahasaan, seni, dan manajemen budaya.
DBSMB memiliki Center of Excellence Culture and Tourism atau COE-CNT sebagai wadah kolaborasi antara sivitas akademika DBSMB dengan mitra. Didukung dengan fasilitas penunjang kegiatan akademik dan non-akademik, Departemen berusaha mewujudkan kegiatan belajar mengajar dan penelitian yang unggul untuk mendukung UGM menghasilkan lulusan yang kompeten dan berkiprah memajukan Indonesia. DBSMB berkomitmen untuk menyelenggarakan pendidikan dan penelitian untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang profesional dalam memenangkan persaingan di era global. Selain program riset, Departemen juga melakukan program pengabdian masyarakat demi sebuah kontribusi nyata terhadap bangsa. Selain itu, DBSMB juga memiliki program kemitraan baik dalam negeri maupun luar negeri. Kerjasama dengan mitra diwujudkan dalam berbagai bentuk kegiatan Tridharma perguruan tinggi, sehingga lulusan dapat meraih pekerjaan impian. Untuk menyalurkan minat dan bakat, DBSMB memiliki banyak kegiatan mahasiswa dan lingkungan yang dapat memberi kebebasan kreativitas bagi para mahasiswanya. Namun, terus menumbuhkan sikap tanggung jawab.
Semua program studi di sekolah vokasi memiliki tujuan untuk menciptakan lulusan yang dekat dengan industri dan memiliki kompetensi, sikap, dan pengetahuan yang dibutuhkan oleh industri.
Dengan pembukaan program studi sarjana terapan, DBSMB bertekad untuk menjadi departemen ilmu terapan yang unggul, bermartabat, dan mampu menghasilkan profesional dalam bidang bahasa, kearsipan, dan kepariwisataan yang berjiwa Pancasila.
Universitas Gadjah Mada or UGM is a public university renowned as the People's University, which strives for and puts forward the interests of the citizens and nation of Indonesia. As a higher education institution that has long been recognized by the society, we are proud of our timeless and tireless dedication to the nation. By cultivating, implementing, and leveraging education, research, and community services, which constitute the salient objectives of Indonesian higher education, or Tridharma, we remain committed to incessantly promoting the values of Pancasila. We exert the utmost effort to protect Indonesia's sovereignty in accordance with Pancasila ideology and the 1945 Constitution. As a world-class university, UGM is devoted to the interests of the nation and humanity. We conduct research, provide education, and deliver community services by enhancing knowledge that benefits the community, the nation, and the world. We have been learning from one another and get stronger together since we believe that knowledge is not useful unless it is shared with others. The learning process will never cease developing. At UGM, we learn by continuously exploring sciences, learn
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and Salam Kebajikan. Malinowski defined culture as human solutions to its environment and efforts to maintain its survival in accordance with the best traditions. Hi, I'm Rizky Alwido Setiawan as the MC for this afternoon event, and welcome to webinar event talk 49, Introductions to World Culture from Various Perspectives. The Honorable as the representative of the Applied English Study Program, Ms. Nurenda Nugrahani. The Honorable as COA intern as SVUGM, Ms. Melika. The Honorable as the supervising lecturers of Event Management course, Ms. Dewi Cahya. And what I'm proud of the audience, guest speakers, and fellow students. On the occasion of this afternoon, we will discuss a very interesting topic for discuss in this academic scope of exploring the world culture in Pakistan. This topic will be presented by our extraordinary guest speakers, Mr. Waleed Ahmed Loun from Pakistan, and we also invite student speakers from Universitas Sumatera Utara and speakers from Universitas Gadjah Mada who will present topic relevant to our discussions today. Before we start to our session this afternoon, I will explain the sequence of our program for the beginning up to the end. First, opening by MC, and then listening to the national anthem Indonesia Raya, and followed by anthem of Universitas Gadjah Mada. And we move to submission of speaker certificates and documentations. Next to the opening speech. Next, speaker introduction by the moderator and presentations of material by all speakers. And we move to Q&A sessions and move to the games, and the last, we will close this event. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move to our main events today, I'm pleased with convey the rule during the webinar. All participants prohibited of turning on the microphones during the sessions. So please keep it turned off, only turn it on when during the Q&A sessions. Next, participants will wish to ask questions are required to raise their hand first. Next, we will ask all participants to turn on the camera if there is no signal problem during the discussions, so let the atmosphere feels very comfy and lively. Next, all participants should use the virtual backgrounds that already shared in WhatsApp group. And the last, this webinar will be recorded from the beginning up to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for all participants and speakers for joining with us. Next, to start our sessions today, let's listen to Indonesian national anthem, followed by Hymne Gadjah Mada. To the operator, time is yours. All right, without any further ado, let's get into the next sessions, which is handling over certificates to all speakers and continuing with the documentations. Before the operator preparing for the certificates, I would like to thank to all of participants who already joined for this webinar, and hopefully this event will be have very insight for our discussions because we will discussing about very uh, interesting topics, introductions to world culture from various perspectives, and also we would like to discuss too about interfaith and also LGBT to around workplace. For our guest speaker, Mr. Waleed, are you ready for the documentation for handling the certificates?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Right, these certificates will be given for Mr. Waleed Ahmed Loun as the speakers for today's webinar event. So,
thank you very much for this.
thank you. Next, the certificate will be given for representative from UGM 1. While waiting for the operator for preparing the certificates for the group UGM 1, are you here?
Yes, we are here.
Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, for the next session will be an opening speech. First, to the representative of Applied English Study Program, Ms. Nur Endah Nugrahani, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible, Rizky? Ridho?
Yes, you are audible, Miss.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, I'd like to give a sincere appreciations to the organizers of this event and also Miss Devi as the lecturers of two different subjects, yeah, introductions to events management and international cross-cultural communication that make this webinar possible. And I would like to welcome everyone who are joining this webinar event talks number 49, right? The topic itself is the introductions to work cultures from various perspectives. And I can see that there will be a guest speaker, Mr. Waleed Ahmad Loun. And I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Loun, who has given the time to be the speakers in this webinar, and also invited speakers, student speakers, yeah, from Universitas Sumatera Utara, and also students from batch 2022, right? Hopefully you are going to have a great discussions during this webinar. I can see that the topics of the webinar itself is various, right? I mean, each group will present different different topic under the same, maybe under the same umbrella, like that one. Okay, so hopefully you all get the benefit from this, not only because you have to do it as one of the requirements of the subjects, but you also gain insight from having the discussions, yeah, with all of the speakers. So I'm sorry, I probably could not attend the webinars fully as I have to do other things, but hopefully all of you will enjoy a very fruitful webinar. So thank you very much, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for Ms. Nur Endah Nugrahani for the warm welcome. Next, to the opening speech will be delivered to the COE or Center of Excellence from SVUGM. First remarks to Ms. Melika. For Ms. Melika, time is yours.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Do you hear me well? Perfect. Okay. First of all, selamat sore to everyone. I'm trying my best in the Indonesian, I know. And welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Waleed Ahmad Loun, and our three groups as well, two from UGM and one from Sumatera Utara. I'm a new face to most of you, so I just want to give a very brief introduction. Nama saya Melika dan saya dari Belanda. That's a very short version because I'm born and raised in Denmark and I'm sort of biologically, genetically Turkish. Explains that I don't look very Danish myself. I'm an intern at Center of Excellence on Culture and Tourism at UGM, and that is why I sort of have the merit to do this opening speech. I'm a master's student at Utrecht University in the Netherlands, and this internship is the last step of completing my master. And I wrote my master thesis on bilingual workplaces and how bilingualism at workplaces affect inclusion. So I've had quite a sort of corporate focus as well to combine academic research knowledge with the workplace. So I'm very excited for today's webinar, and I will definitely be joining till the end. So I'm very excited. Here at UGM, I'm also doing project-based learning. I'm involved in several projects, one of them being BBM FM. So I'm hosting two programs there. And then I'm also involved in folklore research and hosting some seminars just to share my experiences. I think project-based learning is such a good opportunity to combine research with the community, with hands-on experiences, because obviously we want to avoid keeping all this knowledge inside the university walls. I think then it is lost. We want to solve problems out there. So I think this is a very beautiful initiative. Thank you to Ms. Dewi for facilitating it. With that said, I think we're done some welcoming already, but obviously again, welcome to Mr. Waleed, Ahmed, Loun. I hope I pronounced it correctly, and welcome to the three groups presenting. I'm really excited for your speeches, and obviously thank you to the event management class for hosting this very professionally. It looks very good. So yeah, the floor is yours. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for Ms. Malika for the warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we will enter the main event, which is the presentation of the material by our main speaker, who will be delivered. Will be guided by our moderator, Natasha Samuela. Miss Natasha, the floor, the time and screen is yours.
Thank you, Rido. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so greetings everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Natasha, and I'm going to be your moderator in this sharing session. So now we're moving to the first sharing session of the main event. So while I believe the operator is preparing for the technical things, I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Waleed Ahmed Loun. Hello, Waleed, are you here?
Hello, Natasha. Thank you very much for having me. And how are you?
I'm doing great and very excited for this session. So
me too.
I hope you have a great session. So if everything is set and ready, you may deliver your materials.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, the title is Exploring the Work Culture in Pakistan. Yeah. So a little overview of Pakistan is like Pakistan is located in South Asia and has a population of about 231 million people. And Pakistan has a diverse economy with major industries, including manufacturing, textiles, agriculture, etc. And understanding the work culture in Pakistan is crucial for professionals and businesses operating in the country, within the country. Yeah. Now, Pakistan is Pakistan was founded in 1947 in the name of Islam. The leaders at that time, they wanted British government to let them have a state in which they can practice Islam freely, so that in 1947 Pakistan was founded, and so that Islam is the dominant religion in Pakistan, and its principles heavily influence on its culture as well as on work ethics and behavior. There is a strong emphasis on honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct in workplace. Now, many individuals also adhere to religious practices such as daily prayers, and especially for Friday prayer. So our work environment, offices, businesses, they try to accommodate their afternoon prayers and Friday prayer as well. So that they can practice their religion, their Islam. And after that, hierarchy and respect for authority. Hierarchy holds significant importance in Pakistani work culture, and seniority and experience are highly valued as well. And respect for authority figure is deeply ingrained. As in the teaching of Islam, we must obey our authorities. So in our work environment, we obey our authorities, we give them respects using honorifics such as Mr. or Madam to show the difference and politeness. Uh, doesn't matter if your boss or your authority personnel is younger than you, you will be calling him with the honorific sir or madam. And if the boss is younger and you are like elder, he will also be calling you with respect, sometimes saying like Mr. or in our Urdu language at the end of the name Sahib. So this is also a kind of respect for your elders and for your superiors as well. And after that, there comes the gender roles and expectations from these genders. So traditional gender roles play a significant role in the work environment in Pakistan. So in Pakistan, men are supposed to be the breadwinners, yeah. Whereas women are supposed to be taking care of the family in the house. So for the women who are working in the offices, it is very difficult for them to balance their work and family responsibilities. So this is a challenge women are facing nowadays during their life. But nowadays, there are some organizations which are some workplaces may also have gender segregations with separate areas designated for male and female employees. But the responsibility for women regarding their family, it is still there, and this is very difficult for them. And they are still facing this. After that, hospitality and relationship building. Now, hospitality is highly valued in the work environment in Pakistan. So building personal relationships and trust are important for successful business dealings. As hospitality is a part of our culture which came from the teachings of Islam. So we always try to present some tea or snacks as a refreshment. So it is customary to engage in small talks and offer refreshment like tea and snacks during the meetings or business negotiations. Now, the tea is very important. I will say the most important part of our culture, our hospitality, because the tea is always there. Like if a person go to a bank for opening a bank account, he will be presented with a cup of tea, and after that they will work on the opening process of the bank account. So the tea is very important. There is always tea time in during the work time as well. So it is a compulsory thing. And the gesture of hospitality help establish rapport and create a conducive environment for conducting business. And yeah, now work life and social life balance. See, work life and social life balance, it is an ongoing challenge in Pakistan's work culture, because traditional work environments often involve long working hours, like 8 hours a day. In Pakistan, the traditional working hours are 8 hours. So it is too long, like 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. So it is an ongoing difficulty, but nowadays, recognizing the need for balance, some organizations are adopting emerging trends such as flexible working hours and remote work options to provide employees with more control over their schedules so that they can balance their work life and social life as well. And after that, dress code and appearance. So dress code and appearance hold significance in the workplace in Pakistan, as in the teachings of Islam as well. The cleanliness is a compulsory thing. So the formal business attire is generally expected with men wearing suits and ties, and women opting for traditional shalwar kameez or Western style clothing as well. But it must be decent. Like the skirt is not allowed in our work environment. So they can wear Western style clothing, but it must be decent. And modest and conservative dressing is encouraged, reflecting the cultural norms of Pakistan of the society. Yeah. Then the communication style. The communication style in Pakistani work culture is characterized by an indirect and polite approach. Non-confrontal or non-confrontational language is often used to maintain harmony. And non-verbal cues, including facial expressions and tone of voice, are important for understanding the underlying messages. And the formal language and titles are typically used when addressing the superiors, like I mentioned before, sir or madam. But when it comes in between the colleagues are usually treated as friends, and they sometimes have fun with each other in their free time or after work time. So that, as I mentioned before, the working hours are long, so that after finishing the work, the colleagues get together, talk about something, have some drink, etc., etc., so that they can release the tension of the whole day of their work. So this is kind of a good thing in between the colleagues. After that, business etiquette. Now, business etiquette hold great importance in Pakistan, like respect, courtesy, and hospitality are highly valued, and punctuality and time management are expected, and the exchange of business cards is considered as formal introduction and is exchanged at the beginning of the meeting. Yeah, but sometimes after the meeting there is some refreshment so that they can get together, and during the non-formal discussion they can share their cards too as well. And work ethics. Now, work ethics in Pakistani work culture emphasize hard work, productivity, and commitment. Like meeting the deadlines and delivering quality work are the priorities. And honesty, integrity, and loyalty are highly valued. Now, loyalty is that much valued that sometimes some people, not everybody, there are some people who just leave a better opportunity. They don't go for that because they think that will be a betrayal to my company, my colleagues, etc. But on the other hand, if any colleague is getting a better opportunity, the other colleagues respect and support him as well. So this is a good thing in our work environment. And now I will conclude my presentation that it is evident that Islam and Pakistani culture have a significant impact on the work environment in Pakistan. As I mentioned before, Islam is the dominant religion in Pakistan, and so Islam shaped Pakistani culture, and it significantly shapes the work environment. So the values and principles derived from Islamic teachings, such as honesty, integrity, and respect for authority, shape the work ethics and behavior of individuals in the workplace. Moreover, the emphasis on building personal relationships, practicing hospitality, and observing religious practices reflects the cultural norms deeply rooted in Pakistani society. And understanding and respecting the influence of Islam and Pakistani culture is crucial for professionals and businesses operating in the country. It allows for effective communication, relationship building as well, and adaptation to the cultural nuances for the work environment. By embracing these influences, individuals and organizations can foster a harmonious work environment, strengthen business relationships, and achieve greater success in their goals and ambitions. So that's it. That's it. I hope it may help. And thank you very much for listening. And feel free to ask if there are any questions or clarification on any aspect of the presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Waleed, for your presentation, and thank you for concluding it as well. It's very interesting that to know that tea is like one of like important thing in Pakistan because it's something unique that I haven't heard before.
Yeah, the tea is compulsory.
Okay, so we know that Islam really play an important role in the work culture of Pakistan. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Okay, so because Walid has finished his presentation, if there is anyone who would like to ask questions, you may raise your hand or you may drop the question in the chat box. But first, I would like to know, Walid, if an international company, let's say, operate in Pakistan, should the company apply 100% of this specific or certain work culture, such as like applying the working hours and then about the gender roles and then the dress code, etc., like you have mentioned before, or is there any tolerance in applying this work culture? What do you think?
No, there is some tolerance. Yeah, it's not like they're very strict onto that rules and regulations or etc. etc. But it is good if you practice those things and so that people will more like it and follow it because this is our culture. Everybody loves their culture. So, yeah. So if the company or organization who came in Pakistan and apply our culture, we will be very happy. Yeah. But
Okay.
there is tolerance as well.
Okay, so of course, the country, the government also open to internationals or multinationals like company. However, it will be better if the company itself like apply the culture, right?
Yeah. We are
Okay.
open, but it is better if you choose our culture to be applied.
Okay, that's great. And I would also like to know whether is there any non-Muslim in the workplace? Like, is the opportunity to work in Pakistan is similar to the Muslim?
Yeah, the opportunity to work is similar. Yeah, but there are some rules like a non-Muslim cannot be a president of Pakistan. Yeah, and that's it. Other than that, there is no limitation for the other religions.
So,
yeah.
So the rules is like that is only applied in the government. Am I right?
Yeah, only for the prime minister or president.
The higher position.
Yeah, only for prime minister or president. These two things.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Waleed. So
thank you.
It was such a insightful presentation because maybe most of us here haven't been to Pakistan, so now we have a better insight about Pakistan itself. Oh yeah, here we have two questions. Maybe Miss Malika. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And thank you for the presentation, Mr. Waleed. It was a really good presentation. I have a question on the loyalty to your workplace. I found that one very interesting because I'm in recruitment back in the Netherlands, and we see a trend that so my parents' generation, that they were very, very loyal, to their workplace. And my parents are Turkish. So it was just to give a bit of an aspect. But that our generation, so the younger generation, that we are disloyal is a bad word, but that we are more interested in seeing what's there for us. A lot of us are high educated, and we know that we have good opportunities inside our borders, outside our borders. So and you said, well, loyalty is a very good thing. So I'm curious, how do you view also understanding what you're worth on the job market versus being loyal to your company? How do you balance that in a good way?
Thank you for asking the question. You see, loyalty within the company, it's like if now I'm a part of this company, I will be fully loyal. It means that I will give my 100%. This is one thing that is called loyalty. Now, the other thing that I mentioned, that some people do not leave that company or organization for better one because they think that this will be a betrayal. It is not much. I just some people, only some few. Like if an introvert and extrovert, yeah. If an introvert has a job in a company, and after 2 or 3 or 4 years he's befriend with his colleagues, yeah. So it will be very difficult for him to go to another place, yeah. So like he will be afraid, and he will be saying, no, it will be betrayal to my this colleagues, my community, etc. So I am not going to other place. And sometimes they do not go for better place because they think that no, it is a little far from my home, so it's okay. I am happy here as well. This is also, but there are few, very few, because as you mentioned that younger generation, educated generation, they are okay. If there is something good, they go there. But being loyal is also means that now I'm here, I'm giving my 100% here. Or after, if I go for better option, I will keep all the secrets that was here, that will be here. And if I go there, I will be there. So this is a loyalty, a kind of loyalty as well. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much. Can I ask like an additional question, or is that too much?
Yes.
I'm curious if you see that this is different in any other cultures, because what you're saying I recognize a lot in anywhere I've been. So I'm curious if you've experienced that, being loyal to the place that you currently work, as in giving 100% yourself and being committed. Have you experienced that in other cultures? You've experienced that it is different?
Yeah, well, actually, I haven't been to other places too much, but I just came to Indonesia, and here I'm just like studying in this university in UGM. Same like you, I'm learning Indonesian language, so I still don't know much about the work environment here. But I do know that they usually wear a special kind of shirt which has name tag here and some kind of design here, some kind of like a kind of bird, imaginary bird, something like that. So I see like all of the Indonesian people, most of the Indonesian people who are working in the offices, they are wearing that kind of shirt. So this is something new for me. In Pakistan, not like that. On the other hand, I don't know much about the workplace in Indonesia. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Waleed and Miss Malika. It was such a fruitful discussion. And since our time is very limited, I saw that there is one participant who would like to ask question. Maybe you can drop the question in the chat box, and later the speaker will answer it as well in the chat box. And now, once again, thank you, Waleed, for your presentation. It was such a great presentation for us. And now we're moving on to the next sharing session. Okay, so our second session will be led by 3 speakers as a group from Universitas Gadjah Mada. So I believe while the operator is currently preparing for the slides and of the technical problems, I would like to welcome our speakers, Jelita, Agustine, and Afrieda Fidelya Maharani. Hello guys, are you guys here?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, great. How are you feeling today? Are you ready for the presentation?
Yes, I'm pretty good.
That sounds great. So you have 15 minutes for for your presentation. So the floor is yours. Have fun.
Okay, thank you for the moderator. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Afrieda Fidelya Maharani with my partner, Jelita Agustine. We are from UGM Group 1 who would like to present our webinar presentation, which is the topic is Interfaith Skills in Hotel, especially in Yogyakarta's hotel. So without further ado, I will start our webinar presentation. Next slide, please. So as you can see, here's our members, and the first one is the background. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay. So diversity of faith in the workplace. So according to the theory that Matis et al. 2016 mentioned that religion is often an issue in the workplace. Problems is usually arise due to the conflict between the organizational policies and employees. So diversity of faith at work is the existence and the coexistence of many religious practices and beliefs among the employees within a company. Like it recognizes that people may have a variety of religious or spiritual orientation and tries to promote an inclusive workplace that respects and takes into consideration this diversity. And next slide, please. And the second one for the background is we have the center regulation and employees. So center regulation is actually the rule of one of the hotel management center for all of the hotel branches. This rule that applied to the average for 5-star hotel in Indonesia came from the center regulation, which must follow the international standards. And the next slide is the objectives will be explained by my partner, Jelita.
Okay, thank you, Afrieda. So let's move on the next slides, which is objectives. So we have 3 main points we are going to talk about today. And the first one is analyze the issue of the center regulations, especially in Yogyakarta, which is the place where we study right now. And the central regulation usually use foreign policy standards and applies in all their hotel branches around the world. But not every hotel in Yogyakarta uses central regulation as a standard. It depends on the management of the hotel, whether they want to adapt with social conditions or region or not. Second is explaining the results of our research questions. And the last one is build interfaith skills to engage difference, because this is our purpose to do the research. Next slide. So while doing interview, we choose 4 points to ask to the informant. So the first question is, why does the average 5-star hotel in Yogyakarta apply center regulations? We choose these questions because almost all 5-star hotel has a similar service. And for the specific one, is about a uniform that is pretty strict. So next. So there must be a consequences of a rule that applies. So we come up to question about what are the consequences for the employer, especially or for the specific in the religion side. In Indonesia itself, people are required to choose one belief to embrace because any regulation must be implies whether directly or indirectly. Next questions is, how's the perspective of the employees responding to this rule? Because in Jakarta, mostly the employees are Muslim, and the Muslim women supposed to or should wear the hijab, and the other side, hotels are not allowed to wear hijab. There is a rule that controls how to dress as an employee. So it's a pretty strict. So this is the background we want to ask questions. And the last question is, how do we build interfaith skills in the workplace regarding this issue? Because this is important and a very needed skills. Next slide.
So I will explain further methodology that we use regarding to collect the data for our webinar event talk. So here's the first methodology that we use regarding to our webinar topic is the qualitative method. So in the form of these interviews with our narasumber or informant, which is Mbak Siti. So she's actually hotel staff in the service field who has been called to work in both of 5-star hotels and 3-star hotels. And the second methodology that we use is journal research. So this methodology on this webinar serves as the foundation for the student for conducting research and presenting findings. It supports the transparency, accountability, and moral concerns while assuring the validity, reliability, and consistency of the research. And the researchers contribute to the expansion of knowledge and the practical application of researchers' findings in the field of this topic by selecting an acceptable approach and effectively presenting it. And next. So finally, we have the result and discussion.
Okay, so here's the slide. We want to answer the first question, which is why does the average 5-star hotel in Yogyakarta apply center regulations? But again, it depends on each investor. If investor wants to cooperate with the government, of course, it will be good because we can negotiate so that they are willing to adjust the rules according to the social conditions of each region. And employees are required to work more neatly and diligently because their service provided must be perfect. I mean, the neatness and diligence of employees is very important. Therefore, they tend to apply the same regulations in each brand so that they can maintain the service, the quality of service, the neatness, and customer satisfactions. Next slide. Okay, so this is the answer for second questions. What are the consequences for the employers? And specifically, it's in their religions side. So the first one is for uniform or accessories. So as a result of our interviews, that the neatness of clothing and hairdo of an employee is really very concerning. Even just clothes that are a little bit loose can cause something stand in the way. Usually, employees who look a little untidy will be called by her manager or supervisor to change clothes that suits their body proportions. And in terms of using accessories, there are limits that must not be violated, such as wearing excessive jewelry. Because besides being able to interfere with work performance, it can cause untidiness. And the problem of just dressing can be complicated. And what's more, if the employee is wearing a hijab, there are no standards in 5-star hotel that regulate the use of the hijab. And it will also show differences in the appearance of employees between hotels. Next slide. And for the pride times, unlike the case with how to dress, and it's the responsibility of each individual. The company usually doesn't set a special schedule for worship. Employees are required to be able to take their time for a moment, but still keep their work from stopping or being hampered. Next. Next slide. Okay. And the last is for the big days. For the big days themselves are usually the work schedule prioritized for people who are not celebrating. Employers who are celebrating holidays, like big days, can apply for leave or relief. But back again to the agreement between employees to keep their jobs going well. Next.
So this is the third result that we will discuss. So how's the perspective of the employees responding to this rule? So employers' response and views towards a five-star hotel rule that doesn't allow them to wear the
Recording
hijab can vary
stopped.
depending on the individual
Recording in progress.
beliefs and personal experience. Some employees might unhappily comply with the rule in order to keep their jobs or because they see it as like necessary of trade-off for working in a five-star hotel. It can also be argued that religious symbols, including the hijab, shouldn't be displayed in a professional setting to ensure the neutrality and avoid the favoritism toward any specific religious group. And next slide. So this is the last result, and this, that we will discuss. It can also be the we can mention that it is a solution for our issues. How do we build the interfaith skills in the workplace regarding these issues? So the first one is by discussing with the government. So how important is it to discuss with the government and why? So in this issue, we talk about why management in five-star hotels enforce these rules in Indonesia, which, as you know, like incidentally, is a country with a Muslim majority. So back to this issue, employees or staff cannot solve the problem with the power they have because the rules are centered on the central regulation, as I mentioned before. So one of the efforts that can be made to mobilize and create the interfaith in the workplace is by discussing with the government, which government is, as you know, that they have an important role in this country. And the second way is self-awareness. So it involves by being conscious of how one's the actions and decisions may impact the individuals from diverse backgrounds and having the ability to navigate and foster the inclusivity within a workplace. In this issue, where the hotel employees are not permitted to wear the hijab, self-awareness becomes the crucial for both the employees and the management, as our narasumber mentioned before. So hotel employees who wear the hijab may face the restrictions due to our uniform or dress code policies in such situation. So in such situation, self-awareness allows the employees to understand and reflect upon their own religious beliefs, values, and practice. And they can identify how these aspects shape their identity and professional goals. Self-awareness enables employees to navigate the potential conflicts, make informed decisions, and determine the most suitable course of action while balancing their religious commitments and professional responsibilities. And the last one that we have is ensuring the hotel management. Ensuring the hotel management actively supports and promotes a culture of inclusivity and religious diversity. Lead by the example, like by demonstrating respect for all of the employees' beliefs and practice. Regularly communicate the importance of interfaith skills and diversity to all of the employees to create an environment where the employees feel valued, respected, and included regardless of their religions and beliefs. Next. So here we have the questions.
Okay, I'm going to sum up our presentation today. So hotel regulations actually depend on the investor investing their shares somewhere. And usually if the investor are from abroad, not from Indonesia, they generally apply central policies where all regulations cannot be adapted to the social condition of a place. If they want to adapt to social conditions, they have to cooperate with the government as the authority holder for the permit to establish the business. In terms of regulations, individuals cannot intervene, but individuals can choose whether they will continue to work at that place or not. Because the consequences of matters related to one's religions are not responsibility of the company.
So I think the conclusion will be in the last our discussions. Hopefully, our webinar events talk can give you more knowledge about the interfaith skills in the workplace, especially in the hotels. So after this, we look forward to discuss with you. I will be back with my moderator, Ms. Natasha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Afrieda and Jelita, for your presentation. It's very interesting that two of you bring this interesting topic that has been a situation, especially in our country for years, especially when it comes to hotels and these regulations. Now we're entering the second question and answer session. So if anyone has any question, you may raise your hand or please drop the question in the chat box and I will choose which question that can be. Oh, we have a lot of questions here. Maybe I would like to go to Dian Fitri first. You may open your microphone and introduce yourself. Thank you. Dian Fitri, you may introduce yourself first.
Hello, my name is Dian Fitri, and I want to ask, I'm wondering whether other countries also face similar or same problems in Indonesia, or are they other countries already have certain or special regulations so that this thing isn't considered as a problem anymore? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dian Fitri, for asking for the question. So I will answer your questions. I think, as I see from our narrative or informant, each country must have its own rule. It all depends on what is the majority religion in that country. So, like Indonesia have the Muslim majority. So, if the majority religion is Muslim in that country, it will become a problem. Like because the rules and the procedures for dressing in Islam are regulated even more for women. Is it clear?
Dian Fitri, is your questions? Okay, it's clear. Thank you so much, Afrieda and Dian. And now maybe we're moving on to the next question from Nasha. Hello, Nasha. Okay. You may introduce yourself first and then you may ask your questions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nasa, and I want to ask one question. How does interfaith skill contribute to effective communication and conflict resolutions among employees with diverse religious backgrounds?
Okay, thank you for the second question. I will answer for the question. So, yes, it's actually interfaith skills play a significant role in promoting the effective communication and conflict resolutions among the employees with diverse religious background. We can choose these ways, like the first one is cultural sensitivity. Interfaith skill development encourage individuals to become more culturally sensitive and aware of the nuances associated with the different religious beliefs and practice. And also we can use the way by active listening, like interfaith skills development emphasize the importance of active listening, which involves the giving full attention to the speaker, understanding their perspectives, and responding thoughtfully. Like when the employees with diverse religious backgrounds engage in these conversations, active listening enables them to truly hear and comprehend each other's viewpoints. I think that's the answer. Is it clear?
Okay, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, since we our time is pretty limited. Maybe Rifa, you can drop your question in the chat box, and then later Afrieda and Jelita can answer it for you. And now we're moving on to the third session. Once again, I would like to thank Afrieda and Jelita for delivering these materials. Indeed, it is a very interesting topic to be discussed about, just like what Miss Melika said before, because it's just like a never-ending issue that needs to be solved. Like we need to find like the win-win solution for this problem. Okay. And thank you so much. And now before we're entering the third session, I would like to call my partner from Parami University, Myanmar, Bonkan and Essie. Hello guys, are you here?
Yes, we are here. Thank you for calling out.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Bon?
Yeah, pretty great and kind of like excited for the next sessions.
Okay, so this is going to be an ice-breaking session. So I hope Essie is already here. Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, maybe you can introduce yourself first before you start the ice-breaking session.
Hi, this is SCC from Parami University. Currently, I am living in Myanmar. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh yeah, Bon, please.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
No, you introduce yourself first.
Okay, then thank you. So for me the same, I am from Parami University and yeah, so currently in Myanmar right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna pass the floor to you. So have fun, everyone.
Okay, so so many people are here. So good to see you everyone. So yeah, so we are now in the game sessions and the game is like pretty simple. So what you have to do is you have to kind of like answer the questions uh, and become the winner. Okay. So yeah, like this is for like fans and engaging. So we put some sort of questions that are like not that serious. We just put those questions for like make you feel refreshed again because I think that you might feel a little bit tired of like listening to presentations and then the talk and then trying to come up with the questions. Okay. So I'm gonna drop the link in the chat and try to get into the link. All right. So just one disclaimer here. So we put some sort of like silly questions. So you have to be creative. All right. So we don't want you to like, get the answer all the times and then get the full marks. We don't want to be like that because it's going to be a bit boring. So yeah. So trying to submerge in this and then have fun. Okay. So I'm gonna wait for like 1 to 2 minutes to get all the people in the Zoom to be in our quiz and to be in our game. Okay, so we have right now is 15 people right now. who has joined the games. So, okay, another one. So let me wait for a bit so that like everyone can join the games. Okay, so are there anyone who are still joining the game? Okay. I feel like there are people still joining. Right. Okay, so we are going to start now. So are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to answer those kind of brain taser, which doesn't make sense sometimes?
Yeah, ready.
We are ready. We are ready.
Right. So here we go. So please try to finish the game. We still have like 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay, guys, we have like 3 more people left to finish the games. So please try to finish it quick. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so sorry about for the like last 3 persons. Time is up, so I have to kind of end the game right now. Okay. Yeah, so we have like 3 persons at the top right now. So to those people, congratulations, you guys did it. Okay, so the first person is I don't know how to pronounce the name, but yeah, congratulations, you guys. Yay! So we have like 3 persons, and the first is okay, and the second one is Peter, and then third is Timmy. Okay, yeah. Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Did you enjoy it? I hope you really enjoy it. And yes, thank you so much, everyone, for actively participating in the game.
Thank you so much, AC and Bonkan. It's so refreshing out there listening to materials. And I think now we're very ready to listen to the third session. So once again, thank you so much, AC and Bonkan from Myanmar, from Paramount University. And before we start, I think our Master of Ceremony have some important announcement. They do. Are you still there?
I'm still here, Nanas.
So what's the information?
Well, yeah. So we will remind to all the participants that you are active to this discussion. You will have like some rewards from us for the committee.
Ooh, what is that, Rido?
Yeah, it's like e-money for everyone who joins the discussions, who active the discussions to ask the questions. So you can get the e-money from us.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay, thank you, Rido, for the information. And now we're moving on to the third sharing session. While the operator is preparing for the slides, I would like to welcome Felicia, Artha, and Pita, Gracia, Angeline from Universitas Sumatera Utara as our third speaker. Felicia and Grace, are you here?
Hello, yes, Natasha. We're here. Hi, Natasha.
How are you doing? Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Okay, so without any further ado, the floor is yours, Felicia and Gracia.
Okay. Can we start? Am I audible yet?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. Before we start, on behalf of Pita 2, first, I really want to thank UGM team for this opportunity. And we were very delightful that we could be part of this webinar. In this session, we're going to discuss about work ethics, habits, and challenges in Sumatera region, especially in North Sumatra, because we live in Medan, actually, both of us. Next slide. So the discussion will be led by me. My name is Felicia Artha, and I'm currently a law student at Universitas Sumatera Utara. And there's...
And hi, everyone. I'm going to also accompany Felicia Artha. My name is Pita, Gracia, Angeline, and I'm a final year accounting student at Universitas Sumatera Utara.
Okay, so next slide. Okay, so before we move to the main topic about work ethics, habits, and challenges in Sumatera region, we should know first what are the characteristics of Sumatran people. Next slide. So there are 4 points that came out if we talk about Sumatran people. First, we can see that Sumatran people is a very strict and straightforward nature of society. Secondly, have a strong accent, very ambitious, and last, Sumatran people really loves to wonder. Maybe we will discuss more about these 4 points at the next slide. Next. And about the 4 points, you will often hear this when there is an explanation about Sumatran people. First topic is work ethics. Next slide. Okay, high tolerance, maybe because in North Sumatra, we came from different backgrounds, ethnicities, and religions that makes us understand each other better. And the Sumatran people really uphold their brotherhood, especially if they came from the same clan. For example, if they are Batak or any other ethnicities. Okay, second, unafraid of upcoming things. Because they have an ambitious personality, Sumatran people really like to challenge themselves. As I said before, they loves to wander and try any opportunities. Value honesty. If you draw from a perspective while working, I will give an example. Your colleagues will not hesitate to reprimand you if you make a mistake, and they will tell you immediately. Last, perfectionist. You'll find a Sumatran boss or colleagues that should be as detailed as possible. Maybe it's supported by their assertiveness. Okay, next topic will be led by Pita.
Okay, thank you so much, Felicia, for the opening and explanation about the work ethics. Now, everyone, we're down to the second point of the material, which is work habits. What is work habits? And we're gonna reveal it on the next slide. Okay, so here's the slide. So we might wonder what are the things that Sumatra people do on their daily basis as a worker. So the first one is
Sumatra people tend to have a high voice intonation. And me and Felicia think this is one of the general things that other people from outside Sumatra think about Sumatra people. Like they always have a high voice of intonation, although they are not mad or not feeling any certain emotion. But because our ancestor, like from Sumatra people, usually live uh, one home to other home. It's like they live far away, so they have to speak clearly, and to make sure that the other people that they're talking to understand what they say. So they have to speak in a higher voice. And the second one, Sumatra people always mean what they say. Like they never hold anything behind their back. And it also correlates with speaking to the point. Like Sumatra people really value honesty. So since the beginning, they always thought to never hold any grudges because Sumatra people open up themselves very much to speak clearly. And because they are able to speak clearly, then they will able to communicate to other people in a better terms. And the last one is Sumatra people loves to break the ice because Sumatra people are always taught to, like Felicia said, always wonder, always um, taught by their parents to go outside because by exploring other things like other island, gaining knowledge from other university outside Sumatra, like they will have a better knowledge and they could give back to Sumatra, their home. Maybe next slide. Okay, so after all the explanation about work ethics and habits that Sumatra people have, then Sumatra people also face some challenges. Next slide. Okay. So me and Felicia presented two kinds of challenges. So what kind of challenges that we will face as Sumatran? The first one is what kind of challenges while working in Sumatra, or what kind of challenges while working with Sumatrans or Sumatra people? We concluded three general things. The first one is adaptive. Like Sumatra people have to be adaptive, and also for those people who works with Sumatra, they have to be adaptive because Sumatra people tend to work in a higher pressure, and also in our work now, we usually have a high pressure of work, like we have to do a lot of things, then we must be adaptive. And the second one, the challenges is they have to able to communicate clearly. Like maybe some of other people like misunderstood by how Sumatra people tend to talk, because what I said earlier, the high voice intonation and speaking to the point. Maybe some of other people don't really like or don't clearly understand what's the culture behind Sumatra people, so they talk things like straightforward and they always mean what they say with the high voice intonation, although they don't feel anything and they're not actually mad. So it is one of the challenges that Sumatra people face, like able to communicate clearly. And the third one is resilient. Why we put resilient on this material? Because like what I said earlier, maybe working with the Sumatra people, like you have to be adaptive and communicate clearly. It might, maybe some of the coworkers might feel not quite comfortable along of the pressure and how we communicate. But one thing for sure that everything that we feel, we have to be professional and also be resilient and responsible towards our works in terms of making a better version of ourselves. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you so much. So that's all about work ethics, habits, and challenges in Sumatra region. Thank you everyone for listening. So back to Natasha.
Okay, thank you so much, Gracia and Felicia, for the very insightful presentation, because it's kind of relate to myself as well. Like from when the first time I moved to Jogja, sometimes I didn't mean to like getting mad at people, but seems like uh most of people here like get misunderstood because of my voice, my tone. So thank you so much for bringing this up. So there is a reason behind the high intonation, I think now. And now we're moving on to the question and answer session. So if anyone has any question, you may raise your hand or please drop the question in the chat box. Okay. While we're waiting for the questions, I would like to know from your perspective. So I believe that it's a common fact to know that people who live in Sumatra, specifically in North Sumatra, have a specific intonation, just like I mentioned before. Or maybe it can be sometimes considered kind of straight to the point, perfectionist. Now, I would like to know whether these unique characteristics can possibly bring disadvantages to them if they work in an international company or multinational company or company that apply central regulation or stuff that have certain standards. Maybe do you want to answer it first? Felicia and Gracia?
Okay, may I answer the question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so earlier Natasha asked about what are the advantages and why do Sumatra people have some unique characteristics? Does it have a good side or advantages in international as working in international company? Well, I think from my perspective, it does have an advantages, several advantages, I think, because I think Sumatra people already have a strong figure when they're working, like what I said earlier in the presentation. They always mean what they say. That means that the Sumatra people characteristic always value honesty very much, which is one of the things that is needed in today's working or honesty is one of the things that HR nowadays value very much in working in searching for a candidate. And I think as so much people or when it comes to resilience, I think so much people has the best resilience because like from their ancestor they thought to go abroad or even go to other place, other island to gain knowledge because they want to give back to so much to their own people. And I think those several characteristics really bring advantages to their future career.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer, Gracia. And after that, oh my God, since we're running out of time, I'm afraid we only have one that question. And once again, thank you so much, Gracia and Felicia, for delivering the materials. Perspective from Sumatra region is very insightful, and I hope that it can bring lots of contribution to the applied English students here who is learning in culture as well. So once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. And now we're moving on to the final session. Okay, here we have a group of UGM students that are going to present the next material. I would like to welcome Syahwa Adelwais, Pristiara Nurochman, and Khoirur Rais Negara to join with me. Hello everyone, are you here?
Hello.
Hello.
So, are you ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay, so while the operator is preparing for the presentation, So what is the topic that you guys are going to talk about today?
Okay, so today we want to explain about UGM student perspective on LGBT. As long as we know, the LGBT has spread along this time and this era. And because of that, we want to know about what do students think about them.
Actually, it's such an interesting topic that needs to be discussed. And now, I believe that the operator is ready. So I believe the floor is yours for the next 15 minutes. Thank you.
So we are from UGM Group 2. And before we started, we would like to introduce ourselves first. I'm Syahwa Adelwais and my friend Pristiara Nurochman and Khoirur Negara. So our material is spreading awareness about LGBT through the perspective of UGM student. Next slide. Next slide. So in the background, in an era of globalization and technological advancements, higher education institutions have become increasingly diverse in terms of identity and sexual orientation. One prominent issue that has garnered attention is lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, or LGBT. As the younger generation and influential members of society, students play an active role in shaping and expanding perspective on LGBT matters. Next slide. Objectives. The first, to convey a better understanding of LGBTQ plus issue to the audience. The second, to depict the experiences and perspective of students regarding LGBTQ issues. And the last, to foster tolerance, understanding, and acceptance of LGBTQ plus individuals among students and the general community. Next slide. So the methodology. In this study, we employed a combination of survey methodology and literature review to investigate the student perspective on LGBT. Our research methodology involved the distribution of a survey using Google Form to students at our university, along with thorough review of relevant academic journal. Next slide. Research question. Does the students' perspective on LGBT align with the attitude they would give to an LGBTQ-oriented individual? Next slide. Gadjah Mada University profile. Gadjah Mada University is one of the state universities in Indonesia which was established by government of the Republic of Indonesia on December 19, 1949, which is located in Yogyakarta. Gadjah Mada University upholds the principle of neutrality in all aspects of campus life, including teaching, research, and student activities. The university is committed to not taking sides with any political, religious, or other group, and ensuring that every view and idea has space to be freely expressed and discussed. And what is LGBTQ+? The acronym LGBT is an attempt to categorize various groups in a gray area, and the use of this acronym indicates that the problems and priorities of the group is represented are given equal attention, according Nasution 2007. In its journey, LGBT receive a lot of attention and criticism or rejection and even discrimination from various walks of life, starting from being away from his friends, getting kicked out from the job being considered, and the other. And from legal perspective, LGBT is an immoral crime that is against the moral and cultural values that exist in Indonesia and principles of religion. So, lesbian is a sexual orientation of a woman who only has desire for fellow women. Gay, a sexual orientation of a man who only has desire for fellow men. Bisexual, a sexual orientation of a man or woman who likes two genders, both male or female. And the last, transgender, a sexual orientation of a man or woman by identifying himself as a man or a woman. And the next slide will be continued by Rais.
Okay, next slide, please. Next. Okay, thank you, Syahwa. All right, now I will tell you about Indonesia's situation. Indonesia is a country that values religious principles, making any form of deviant sexual behavior unacceptable. At the same time, Indonesia acknowledges human rights, and the LGBT community perceives discrimination and violation of their rights due to their sexual orientation. It is important to note that sexual orientation is not explicitly addressed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the United Nations in 1948, which served as a global standard for human rights. In Indonesia, human rights are recognized as fundamental rights. However, there are certain legal, moral, ethical, and religious restrictions that emphasize the need to protect the rights of all individuals while respecting public order. Next slide. Okay, now I will explain the results of our survey. Next slide. Firstly, we asked, what is your opinion on LGBT? And we found that 7% of people said they support the existence of LGBT and believe that LGBT individuals deserve to live and be treated as human beings. Secondly, we found that 21% of people said they are neutral on this issue. They said that it's fine, it's okay to be LGBT, but with a condition, such as staying neutral as long as LGBT individuals do not bother them or campaign for LGBT, and etc. Thirdly, we found that 72% of people have a negative view of LGBT. Some said that it goes against their religious belief, violates societal norms, or undermines moral values, etc. Next. Next slide. Okay. Moving on, we asked about their attitude if they were to meet or have acquaintance who identifies as LGBT. So we can see the result in this bar chart. Surprisingly, 50% of people saw respect towards LGBT individuals for no particular reason, even though earlier we saw that 72% had negative view of LGBT. Secondly, we found that 12% of people would try to persuade or advise them to change, but would still respect their final decision. Then 6% of people would remain friends with them, but keep their distance. Additionally, 11% of people express complete indifference towards LGBT individuals as long as they didn't cause any trouble. Finally, 20% of people choose to avoid or stay away from them. Next slide. Okay, now on this slide, I want to convey whether their opinions align with the attitude they express. So firstly, there are 28% of people who hold a neutral or positive opinion and also exhibit positive attitude toward LGBT. Then 20% of people have a negative opinion and attitude toward LGBT. And then the most significant response is from the 39% of people who hold a negative opinion about LGBT due to religion or other reasons, but still maintain a neutral and respectful approach. Lastly, 13% of people have a negative opinion and choose to actively try to advise and encourage individuals to leave the LGBT community. Okay, and the next material will be explained by Tiara.
Okay, thank you, Rais. So let's move to the literature analysis. So I will explain the analysis of the survey result that we collected earlier. Next slide, please. From the previous data, most of them are still against, and most of them also choose to respect. Even though they respect them, they cannot fully accept the existence of LGBT because they have the rule of law, culture, and strong beliefs. This is in line with Hefner 2011 that in Indonesia, this is of course very difficult to accept. Indonesia is different from other countries, both in culture and ideology. Indonesia is a country with a majority Muslim population, which is very harsh against LGBT. Next slide, please. And the second largest percentage of them is choosing to be natural. According to Pita et al. Citation 2016, Sakak Ugulu and Ugulu Citation 2016, individuals with a high degree of extrinsic religiousness might not necessarily be committed to their religion as they might appear to be and are thus less likely to hold on to their religious beliefs. Consequently, these individuals are more likely to have natural attitudes towards gays and lesbians than are individuals with high intrinsic religiousness. So this individual with high extrinsic religiosity may lack a strong personal commitment to religious beliefs and be more influenced by external factors. They may engage in religious activities because of social pressure, cultural norm, or personal gain, not because of deep internal beliefs. Their religious attitudes and behavior may be more susceptible to change and less resilient in the face of recent or social change. In the context of attitudes, individuals with high external religiosity tend to be more natural taking position. On the other hand, individuals with high intrinsic religiosity tend to have strong religious beliefs driven by internal meaning and purpose, spiritual fulfillment, or a deep connection with the divine. They may be more firm in their beliefs and maintain traditional religious values, which often include negative view of homosexuality. However, it is important to remember that this is a general trend and not an absolute rule. Individuals can have significant variation in their attitudes. Attitudes towards LGBT are influenced by many factors, including personal experience, cultural context, education, and exposure to multiple perspectives. Next slide, please. And the last, overall, we conclude that the issue of spreading awareness about LGBT rights in Indonesia, particularly from the perspective of UGM students is a complex one due to the country's strong laws, ideology, culture, and religion. These factors contribute to a general perception that being LGBT is taboo and unacceptable. However, it is important to note that many individuals in Indonesia still choose to respect each person's individuality and feel empathy towards their fellow human beings. And despite these empathetic attitudes, LGBT groups in Indonesia continue to face societal rejection, particularly among students. This can be attributed to a lack of understanding and awareness about LGBT issues, as well as deeply ingrained cultural and religious beliefs. Consequently, there is a pressing need for students as agents of change to actively participate in spreading awareness about equality and the rights of LGBT individuals as human rights. The next slide, please. And this is several references that we use to support the materials. Next slide, please. I think that's all from us that we could share, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Rais, Tiara, and Syahwa for bringing this up. This is an interesting topic that needs to be discussed because of the complexity of the topic itself. It's really good that three of you mentioned that the students of UGM really have like uphold the value of respect to each other, even though they might not support it, or maybe some students support it. But the thing is, the way UGM students support, the way UGM students respect each other's decision is a good key. And now we're moving on to the next session, which is the question and answer session. So if anyone has any question, please raise your hand or drop the question in the chat box. Yes, you may introduce yourself and you may ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mosi. I'm a student in UGM, and I would like to ask a question regarding LGBT. What I'd like to ask is, based on the data and research that you guys have obviously conducted, I'd like to ask whether in Indonesia specifically, are there any specific types of groups that are usually against LGBTQ people? If they belong to like a single type of religion or they follow some type of culture. I'd like to ask if there are any like specific type of groups that belong to these people, and or whether or not the people who do not accept LGBT in Indonesia cannot be specified, and they are just more general in nature. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Maybe from Pristiara, Syahwa, and Rais, you might answer the question.
May I answer the question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you for the question. And about that, we haven't looked into this yet, but in my opinion, this cannot be specified because, as I have said before, that individual can have significant variation in their attitudes, and attitudes towards LGBT are influenced by many factors, including personal experience, cultural context, education, and exposure to multiple perspectives. So the perspective on LGBT depends on the individual itself. Is that clear?
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Timothy, for the question. Oh yeah, now we have Ms. Malike, and you may ask your question, Ms.
Thank you, and thanks a lot for the presentation. I see a correlation between being religious and based on religion being against. That's a bit what I see from the answers, that people say, well, I respect, but my religion doesn't support. And in that respect, I am curious if you know, or if anyone else in this forum knows what it is that this different religions specifically say, because LGBTQ is a new term. It's something that I'm sure when the religious scripts were written, that this was not a term. So I'm curious if anyone can explain what the religion scripts say about this topic.
Okay, from Tiara, Syahwa, and Rais. Do you wish to answer the question, or do you still need time?
We need time to answer.
Okay, thank you so much. While we're waiting for Tiara, Syahwa, and Rais to prepare for the answers, I would like to invite our co-moderator, our master of ceremony, Rido. Are you still here?
Well, yeah, I'm still here, Nes.
So, what do you think about this topic? Seems like this is a complex topic that that they bring to this volume. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like this topic's clearly like too hard for me to understand about like the LGBT. Like everyone knows that the issue is for LGBT. Like in the other side of the world, like they support this kind of LGBT, but in our country itself, like mostly for people doesn't want to like support them. Like it's kind of like why should we love each other? I mean, like in the same gender, like something like that. But yeah, for academic studies, or maybe we should know more about it. Why the reasons why they might have the campaign for LGBT in maybe in Europe or at the other side of the world. And yeah, kind of respect for me is pretty much. I mean, like we should have a respect first for their decisions to have to, like supporting the LGBT. But it depends on the person that if you what is it like this kind of things is more like important to them and it's doesn't important to us. Like yeah, we should like have a respect maybe for their lives because they also human for same as like human rights. So that's my opinion, my personal opinion, I guess.
So, what are you going to say is we should like understand like their perspective as well. Even though maybe we have our own decision and our own perspective, but respecting each other, like the choice that they made for themselves, is very important, right, Rido?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, that's really good. And Rido, don't forget to announce the winner that will get the e-money at the end of the session. Okay, so I would like to invite Tiara and Syahwa and Rais to answer the question.
Sorry, to Miss Melika, can you repeat the question again?
Yes, sure. And I also just want to say that it wasn't a question only to your group because I realize it's a very, very complex question that I'm raising. So it's not to put you on the spot. I'm merely just curious to anyone in this forum, actually, just as an open talk as it looks for me, the study has shown that there is a link between what my religion says and therefore whether I support or not. And what I see is that it looks like most people do respect, but there seems to be this my religion and therefore. So I am just curious, and it's also a talk I've had with other people, as LGBTQ is such a new term. Um, it is not in the scripts, in the religious scripts. I am also a Muslim myself. LGBTQ is not in the Quran. So I am curious if anyone has studied this in one extent or another, has looked into what it is that our religions say about this topic, because we're so often saying, well, my religion doesn't support. But so often what I've experienced is that we don't totally understand what it is our religion support and what it doesn't support, because LGBTQ is such a new term. So it wasn't there during the scripts of our religions, which are very old. So that is just my question. It's just an open dialogue for what, if anyone studied this or knows about this, what is it that our religions don't support?
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Malika. Seems like Waleed here. Maybe we still have like 2 minutes. Waleed, please, you may open your mic.
Yeah, thank you. As Malika raised question or statement or a talk, so I would like to say something that in Quran it is stated about this LGBT. It is just now it's a new name, like a fancy name for an act that has been done before in the previous era as well. So in Quran there is that the people of Lut were in this kind of act that they were involved. The men of those people were involved with men. So Allah diminished them, stoned them. You know, there was some anger of Allah, wrath of Allah was on them. So it is prohibited. And as you said that in our religious books or at that time, there wasn't like that kind of thing. So I just want to say that there was, even before the Prophet Muhammad and even before that. So that thing was there, and it is mentioned in Quran, and it is prohibited in Islam, and even comes about it comes in the teachings of Islam. Those people should be stoned if they come across such kind of act. They should be stoned or punished publicly to stop other people doing something like that. So yeah, that's it. In Islam, this is the teaching of Islam in Quran as well. I hope you may understand. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I've heard the story as well, and what I read was that it was about an act of being with more people at the same time in a bit of an animalistic way, so to say, if I can say this in this forum. But so that was the story I read, and indeed the stoning of people that were not just together with one person in sort of a sacred marriage, so to say. But thank you for sharing your.
Yeah, actually, it is clearly stated in Quran that why you go to other men when there are women. So it wasn't about they were with many people. No, it was culture beforehand. That culture was stopped by Islam. Beforehand, it wasn't a problem like engaging with many people. But it is clearly stated that why you go to men for your needs when there are women. So it must be clear. I wanted to clear that, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Waleed and Melika, for sharing your perspective and opinion, since this is an open discussion as well. And I'm afraid since we're running out of time and our time is pretty limited, so we're going to moving on to the next session. Okay, so since the last question and answer session remarks the end of today's sharing session, I would like to call Rido to rejoin me as well and pass the next session with you. Rido, are you here?
Yeah, I'm still here, Nes. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for having the discussions today. Very insightful discussions. Yeah. Now, for the sessions, it's coming to an end. And how's the impression for these events? Anyone who want to give an opinion or just give us the reactions? Okay. Hopefully, this event can provide broad insights to all of us, and we are able to learn and understand from a variety of different perspectives. And yeah, before we move to the end of the sessions, I would like to invite all of you guys to turn on the camera because we will have the documentations first before we end the sessions. Okay, I will wait for 5 minutes for everyone to open the camera and prepare for the documentations. Oh, sorry, I mean 1 minute in short.
Rido, can I use filters?
Of course, you can use it, whatever you want.
Thank you so much. What filters are you going to use, Rido, this time? Or you're not going to use any? Rido, are you going to use any filter? Are you still here with me? Hello?
Hello, am I audible? Sorry.
Yes, you're audible. Let's use filter together, Rido.
Which filter should we use anyway?
I think the glasses one is cool. Wait, I'm looking for it.
I'm already used glasses, man. Should I use glasses again?
Yes, so do I. Let's go. I really like this filter. Come on, guys, please open your camera and so that we can see your faces. Maybe we can use like similar filters to one another. Yeah. Well, yeah, look at everyone. See, everyone likes the glasses filter, Rido, I've told you.
Yeah, it makes me more cool anyway.
Okay, I think maybe you can lead the documentation session, Rido.
Okay, so how about the operators? Is everyone ready? Okay, will count of 3. So everyone ready, all right? Okay, I will make sure first. Okay. Okay, now in the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, one more, Ramon. One more. 1, 2, 3, smile. Is it clear? Yes. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Wait. Wait, I'm gonna start this filter first. Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone. For this, this discussion will be very insightful, and we reach the end of the event. So me as the representative of the organizing committee would like to thank you to all the speakers, especially for Mr. Waleed. Thank you so much for presenting about these topics. And from the UGM and also Universitas Sumatera Utara, thank you so much for joining this event. And for the colleagues, for Parami students, for Parami University, who have helped us as well. And the participants who have attended this WET, thank you so much for being with us and enjoying the discussions. I'm SNC. I would like to apologize if there are any mistakes in accompanying the course of the event. So yeah, hopefully this event can establish good relations with each other and every institution and also every countries. And don't forget to always maintain love and peace to everyone in the world. So I'm Rizky Alredo Setiawan, SDMC. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.